How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the You're Still Here podcast. How you guys doing? It's that time at the end of the year. Hopefully, this is like this show. It's just like going to college. You have your prereqs. You learned everything you needed to learn freshman year and sophomore year. Then we escalated to those more core classes throughout junior and senior year. And we've elevated. Like, we're at advanced scamming. I guess that's the name of this episode, Advanced Scamming. Scamming 505 or 606 707. What was that hierarchy of numerical order of college courses? Remember, everybody knows the Chalk 101. Oh, yeah, that's Calculus 101. It would make sense that the next one would be 202, 303, 4. But then the numbers start getting real weird. Oh, yeah, that's Psych 235. What is the basis for all those numbers? It honestly just sounds made up if you ask me, because when you start getting up to those higher levels, it's 727. And yeah, just like the Boeing, that's what it starts going into. But what happened to the threes? You never hear about a good 300s course. Oh, yeah. That's sociology, 325. You never hear about that. But you have heard about how Austin 316 says, I just whipped your ass. And if you watched a previous episode of the show, you would know what that is. Or if you happen to watch the 1996 King of the Ring, pretty sure most of you didn't watch that. But since the last time we spoke, I went down to Florida for a wedding, and this is where we're approaching Florida's laugher season, where they get that 4-month stretch. They get to laugh at everyone else. Now, I'm one of the few people who thinks they have 4 months of laughing and 8 months of misery, because it's not just like, oh, yeah, it's so nice during the winter and then it's nice. No, that's San Diego. San Diego, they're year-round laughers over there, and their personalities show you that. You ever meet someone from San Diego? Not a worry in the world. They grew up in Orange County and they went to SDSU. They started a T-shirt company. Life is fine. They're smilers. How are you? How many stand-up comedians do you know out of San Diego? Maybe one or two, but probably not. It's probably one of those happy stand-up comedians. Because everybody I've met from there, there's no reason to be upset. Because my big thing against Florida is, it's a nuclear holocaust in October. And I really mean that. It's still the middle of the summer on Halloween. And that, to me, is just a big no-no. Meanwhile, in San Diego, if you're in the Northeast and it's 96 degrees and blistering hot in the summer, you'd think, Southern California, many times it's still 73. And San Diego is a whole city on the coast. They got fresh, no humidity, around the 70s 12 months a year, and they're laughing at all of us. But in Florida, they get 4 months of laughing, and it starts pretty much towards the end of, middle of December on, January, February, March, and don't ever think that the winter in the Northeast is done come April, because opening day at Yankees, I'm not going. You learned this in Scamming 101. I told you about global shifting. I'm not re-explaining old concepts. You can go back and listen to numerous episodes of the show where I talk about that. So anyway, I went down to Florida for a wedding, and I will say this, at least, if they did it any earlier than mid-November, I'd say, that's definitely way too hot, but it was bearable. Right now in Florida, this is what I call the bearable stretch, and then next month starts the, this is nice stretch. So I went down there for a wedding, and coincidentally, you guys know, many of you who watch this know that I do sports betting videos on the Odd Shopper channel, and then I started doing an NHL show here on my YouTube channel. But obviously, a lot of this stuff is oriented around sports betting and sports betting apps and all that stuff, different sports books. Now, it just so happened that the exact weekend that the wedding was scheduled for in Florida was the exact weekend that Florida had legalized sports betting, but for one sports book. I mean, guys, it's all a scam. Everything's a scam. why is every sports book not legal in all the states? It's one thing if you say, no, that's illegal. But for some states to say, oh, you can have DraftKings approved, FanDuel approved, no, you not approved, it's all a scam. You got to pay people off to get your sports books up and running. And since Florida has a couple of Hard Rock casinos on reservations there, they only greenlit the Hard Rock Sportsbook to be operational. But hey, that's way better than nothing, especially I'm a big fan of the app. So anyway, they announced that early access goes to Florida users who sign up, and what you had to do was sign up for, like, imagine you go to CVS, like a CVS rewards card. Oh, you just got to sign up for the Hard Rock rewards card. I go, okay, no problem, did that. And you have to have at least like $1 in Hard Rock credits on your account. And how do you get Hard Rock? I just went to their website. I was expecting to buy a Cherry Coke Zero. Fantastic, underrated drink, by the way. Cherry Coke Zero. Trust me, you'll thank me later. So it turned out that you needed to have just $1 in gaming. So you have to go to the casino in one of the Hard Rock in Florida. They have a couple there, but one was 15 minutes from where the wedding was. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go there. And I guess I'm just going to, play a $1 slot or something like that. Maybe I can buy a Cherry Coke Zero from the store and that counts. But no, I went there. They said, yep, once you start playing, you'll be available to use the Sportsbook app on your phone tomorrow as soon as there's any sort of balance in there. So while I thought I was going to be able to, no, they got me to gamble a little bit. So they scam you. They just want to get you into the casino just to say, no, you have to play a little bit, then we'll activate it. So they got me in there. And then I'm like, you know what? In my life, I've gone on a couple roulette runs. I haven't played casino stuff in years. But if I was to do it, roulette is my weapon of choice. I got my numbers, and honestly, you talk about a kid riding a bike, playing roulette, it was like I never left the numbers, had them out there. So I was like, you know what? We're here. I'll play $100 either. I was planning on losing it. I was like, you know what? Let's play some of my numbers. What I do is I do some on the outside, some numbers, and whatever. So long story short, I play a couple hands, I win a few $100, and guess what that took care of? Yeah, that's right, the wedding gift. And if you're watching right now, Mr. Married Man, just know you got a couple $100 extra that you were about to get after I made that little run. So they thought they were going to scam me, but as you guys should all know here in the advanced scamming course, Scamming 404, he who scams last scams loudest. And that's exactly what I did over there. But I do want to say this. I proactively reached out after I got to use the Hard Rock Sportsbook. Huge fan of it. More than all the other ones, I promise you, this is one of my top 1 or 2. So much to the point I reached out to them proactively and asked to see if they were interested in a partnership for some of my NHL videos. I'm a huge fan of that Hard Rock. Oh my God, I'm giving them free promote, but don't use it until if and when they get back to me about doing a partnership on my sportsbook videos or my NHL videos. Anyway, so after I got that, pretty happy, got a couple $100, and part of my plan was we were going to go eat dinner at the Hard Rock properties. It's a new place in Southern Florida, really nice. And it was late, so much to the point where it's like we got one of the last dinner slots, one of the absolute last dinner slots, and we walk up to this steakhouse. And I guess I got another reminder of how old I remember. I talked to you a couple months ago about how when I watched Insidious, The Red Door, and we'll be talking more about horror movies today, because that's what it doesn't matter that Thanksgiving's here. It doesn't matter that Black Friday's here. This is like, you know, when you turn on like those free TV channels you get just by having a smart TV, and there's the World Poker Tour channel. Doesn't matter if it's Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, the ball's dropping, Phil Hellmuth at a table on that channel. It doesn't matter what part of the year it is. You're getting horror movies, you're getting horror reviews, and you're getting my affinity for them. It doesn't matter when it is, summer, winter, Halloween, or the day after Halloween. We'll be talking a little horror after I talk about a horror situation that happened to me at this place. So we're going into a steakhouse, and who do I see? Who do I see? The piano band in there blasting the loudest live music. And as I mentioned, when I watched Insidious Red Door, and they did a split screen of a father and his son who was in college waking up and getting out of bed, I saw eye to eye with the father. That was time number 1. Here's time number 5. There's been a couple since then. But as I walked, it was so loud. I'm like, who's eating? Who wants to eat at a steakhouse? You're supposed to savor every bite of that steak. Oh, man, that was marinating. What a steak. And instead, they're blasting Stevie Wonder over there on the... It was absurdly loud. Like, I understand if you're thinking, my God, were they just playing music? No, this wasn't like White Lotus, just casual piano as everybody is in the lounge there and eating some dinner. Blasting. So if I wanted to talk to who I was with at the dinner table, I would have had to say, hey, after this, what kind of steakhouse does that? Who's doing this at a steakhouse? I don't understand it, and we didn't end up eating. So now we're late. We're kind of cranky now, and we both looked at each other and was like, we can't enjoy eating like this. So we then decided, you know what? Let's just go to we'll order some burgers from the Hard Rock place. We walk over to there, and who do they got? What's that guy's name on American Idol? Like Hung Chung or something, Gangnam Style guy. They had full karaoke night going on. I'll give them a half of a pass because, you know what? At least this place is more of a bar restaurant, and it was late, 10:30, 11, on like a rusty Wednesday, mind you. I just thought, Wednesday, come on. And they're doing the loudest karaoke, and I don't know if they had the worst singers in Southern Florida. I don't know if they had tiered quality nights, and Wednesday night, hey, if you have one of the worst voices in your group of friends, we have a special night for you where you never have to feel embarrassed. Come down to the Hard Rock. It's Rusty Wednesdays where you got the worst voice in town, and everyone's going to appreciate it because theirs is worse than yours. Come to the Hard Rock on Wednesday nights where your voice, which your own shower tells you not to sing in because it's so disgusted by, will be welcome at this place. Because my God, it was nails on a chalkboard. I'm not kidding. It was brutal. So then what do? We order the burgers to go because I'm like, I can't even stay. I cannot stay here and listen to this. It somehow was worse than the steakhouse. So we order it to go, standing outside this place. And what do I see outside this burger place in the Hard Rock? It turns out that, it was a venue that had, like, if you walk down, it almost had bowling alley lanes and like that virtual golf. Well, they also had simulated virtual shooting. And the advertisement, which I'll show you, this was what you're looking at, as long as I put it up in this video, is the actual thing. That's my picture. And you essentially are in a virtual shooting. They hand you a gun and you virtually, I guess, shoot people, kind of like, do you remember when Will Smith in Men in Black did that test run of shooting aliens versus not aliens? And, when he goes, oh, he ain't snarling, he's sneezing, when they try to test if he would shoot people or aliens or what. Anyway, I saw that there's like a virtual thing. And the first thing I thought of, oh my God, I see where this is going. This is like a virtual shooting game where you're actually shooting realistic looking people out there. They're going to have AI faces. Like, you're going to be able to program the face of all the people that you despise into these poor people in this virtual shooting game. And you're literally going to shoot all those people who have ever wronged you. I mean, if this was my list and I actually yearned to do this, I think the amount of people I put in there would overload the program. It wouldn't be able to fit. It would like max out the hard drive. But all you people who have about 6 enemies, you're going to be able to program them in there and pick them off one at a time like a real shooter. We kind of have a problem with people taking guns and shooting some people. I don't think having a practice round shooting people in a place is probably going to help that situation. Maybe that's a twisted thought, but look at the advertisement just shows you can be walking around shooting people here. And you know what? It's only a matter of time before you're putting faces in there. I still don't know how. I know it's a crime, but how did they make this a crime on the fly? I don't know how people haven't, like, you know, there's sexting and what do you call it when you like, when you send out pictures of your ex when they sexted you? What's it called? Revenge porn? That's what it is, right? Revenge porn? There's got to be a better name than that. I was just thinking, like, you know, extract, when you blackmail, extract. There's got to be something about sending. Anyway, I can't believe, seriously, because when it comes to that revenge porn thing, it turns out it was just legal to do it until they had to run the hurry up offense on a law that's like, oh, you can't do this. And then the day after that went into law, you couldn't do it. But before that, oh, you can just send pictures of someone's open asshole everywhere. And there was really not much that they could do about it because it was they voluntarily sent it, and that's what it was. And then they wrote in a law. I cannot believe that they aren't AI programming people's faces into porn. Like somebody, I mean, hey, who's your dream girl in college? Well, just send us a picture and then we'll send you your face on the other guy. I cannot believe there aren't services. Now, rumor has it that it's illegal. What law came? Who wrote that law in? And when did it come out? I don't know, but the way things are going, the way you're seeing Chat GPT progress, if you watch any of my sports betting videos on the Odd Shopper channel or even picking corners on my YouTube channel here, I don't know who this is, but there is some bot account that somehow takes my picks that I make on that channel and then uploads it to its own Twitter channel with pictures of the players that I'm talking about, like in a game. It will say like, Andy likes the over on Braden Point, and it will show Braden Point scoring in an AI image, like holding his stick in the air with a final score of 5-2 on the scoreboard. It all does that without a human being. It's all automated. I cannot believe there's not way worse out there. And when I saw this advertisement, maybe that's because my mind is a haunted house full Tales from the Crypt intro style, but I couldn't help thinking, my God. Now, the only question is that going to help the shooter situation or hurt the shooter situation? Is that going to be like, oh, that's a warm-up round? Or, you know what? I got that out of me, and that didn't feel as good as I thought. You can imagine what direction I think it would lean. But other than that, being in Florida was great. The wedding was good. Everything else was fine. Hey, when you don't have to put money out of your own pocket in that wedding gift, things ain't too bad. But you know, if I'm going to fly, there's going to be a couple of airport stories, and this time is no exception. And I guess let's call this the double scam of the week.
It's a scam.
That's a scam.
What a scam that was.
So this was all a scam, huh?
The first is the luggage check-in scam. The luggage check-in scam, where they tell you, oh, well, if you're checking luggage, you gotta be there an hour ahead of time. Why? I know you people have went onto the plane and they go, oh, we're running out of space up top. You know what? Let's just take your bag and check it. It takes 8 seconds to check your bag, but it's a scam. They want you to get there an hour early just because they want to minimize the chance of actually something. So you can say they're trying to help you, but as somebody who likes to perennially show up 50 minutes to 45 minutes before a flight, because I usually fly on off-peak days and it's not a busy airport. Obviously, this is the worst week ever to say that with Thanksgiving travel. But as a guy who likes to show up 50 minutes before flights, I resent this. You have to show up an hour before just to check your bag. When I see them checking things left and right, it's just a guy throws a tag on it and it's in there 5 seconds later. You don't have to be in there an hour early. Okay, and you know what? I shouldn't even yell about this because Lord knows I haven't checked the bag in 10 years. I will move my whole life to Sweden, and I will not check a bag. I will do it only with the carry-on, and you can put your money on that. And then the second one is the early arrival scam. You guys know this is multifaceted. I may have touched on this before, but the early arrival scam that the doctors also utilize, and I know this is messed up to say, but if you have a certain kind of I don't want to specify anything because it's messed up, but if you have something that's going to end your life in the next X amount of time, let's say 5 years or under, but sometimes it's crazy. Like when they go, well, I think the time is 6 months, and then you end up living 18 months. Who's the hero? It's the intentional undershoot so that they saved your ass scam, and it applies to flights. They overestimate your arrival time on purpose so that they can say they got you in early. I know I've mentioned that, but the new one is they said, oh, we got you in nice and early today, but then we sat on the runway for like 28 minutes because there wasn't room for us at the gate. It ain't an early arrival until my ass is in the seat of my car going home. So the scam of we got you in early as you're now going to have to... I'd rather still be in the air because your mind processes that there's still time remaining. But when you're on the floor, you see the people on the streets. When you look out the window and look past the gate at the edge of the airport, you see people living life, and you're just a guy on a plane looking out a window because it's the early arrival scam.
I knew that was a fucking scam. A fucking scam.
But now that we are back, we can celebrate Thanksgiving like the rest of you. And how do I celebrate Thanksgiving? With a horror movie. Yeah, that's right. But because there's a horror movie with just, you don't get much more of a funny tagline than this. It's called Thanksgiving. And I believe you could see it right over my shoulder there. There will be no leftovers. You guys know I love horror movies. But I can tell this is you guys know my tiers, but for horror movies that are enjoyable, if you find comedy in them, I call those are scummy horror movies. This is a scummy horror movie. I just watched that trailer that you see over my shoulder, and they had like somebody in an oven like it's going to be absurd. But then again, it is Eli Roth, so maybe not the worst thing in the world. I will say that over the weekend, I watched Pet Sematary, the Pet Sematary Bloodlines that's on Paramount Plus. I still don't know what Paramount Plus is. You know, when you say, oh, it's Showtime Plus. Oh, well, it's Showtime Plus. It's the thing that you can buy to access Showtime. What the hell is Paramount? I don't ever remember the Paramount Network growing up. So you mean to tell me some network did a name change? Like, well, what, ABC Family's one of them now, right? And then they added a plus to that? I mean, this is too many name changes. This is like, if Ron Artest changed his name 2 more times, all you get is one. And I have no clue what the hell any of these are. So I had to do a little, we need a different word for password sharing. Some sort of, trial period or something like that. But I was watching Pet Sematary, and this veers on scum. This is on the scum threshold where it was okay. But there was a scene that came up. If you've watched any of my videos, I've probably alluded to this. Maybe you've seen some of the clothing that I sell on andyfrancis.com is called Sniff Drip, because I say that predicting picks correctly, you're sniffing them. Oh, I sniffed this, I sniffed that. So that's one of the main themes. It's all sniff-related content. So in Pet Sematary, they're walking into the Pet Sematary, and above a buried, it wasn't a tombstone, but it was just kind of like this wooden stake that had inscribed on it, "Here lies Biffer, one hell of a sniffer." And it panned from out of focus into focus, hell of a sniffer. And I never knew what I really wanted on my tombstone. Like, I always thought if I had an intro on Jeopardy, I always wanted to be, after they go, a high school teacher from so-and-so, Illinois. a self-proclaimed cool guy from Rancho Cucamonga. And I need to be from Rancho Cucamonga because every time I drove by that when I was living in California, I was thinking about faking my address when I went to the DMV just so my license said Rancho Cucamonga, because it's just hard to sound cooler than that. Aruba, Jamaica, Rancho Cucamonga. I mean, it should be right in there, and it's just one of the best sounding names that you can ever get for a city. I don't know how I just veered into that. But yeah, Thanksgiving is, I don't know what you guys want me to say about Thanksgiving. Like I said, this is an advanced sniffing course. We've talked about some of the previous things. It's great that football's on. Don't believe the person who tells you that turkey's going to make you tired. I don't want to keep beating up on this point, but you've had 17 turkey sandwiches this year. January 18th, you had that big turkey club from Subway. No one ever said, are you tired after? It's a scam. Nobody's tired because they just had a little turkey leg. They're tired because they ate like fat slobs, and then they had the dessert and probably didn't end it with that little cappuccino to give them that late life so you can watch that 8 o'clock NFL game. But one of the best developments with Thanksgiving these last 5-6 years or that it was that third added NFL game. It used to just be you got the Lions in the morning, then you got the Cowboys. But I love that night game because all the festivities are over. That maybe around halftime you crack out some of those leftovers. There was never a natural leftover time. You know, many times you'd bust it out the next day. And then after that, you can just kind of, if you'd like, go and find some online Black Friday deals, because if you are one of those people, my God, you are going out voluntarily because it ain't warm anymore. It's not like this is going to be, nice weather. You wait online outside some godforsaken Target or Costco. I don't know where the hell you would go, Best Buy. Also, you could be like one of the zombies from War of the Worlds, waiting for that gate to open. Remember that. If you're thinking about going out for Black Friday, whoever's on the inside of that store, they look at you. There is a still image on their cameras on the outside. They have it. Oh, there's an image of you if you've been there. You are literally one of the zombies in War of the Worlds. Just trying to get in there. Also, what? So you can get that fake 60-inch TV that somehow has one HDMI input? It's like the Groupon scam where you go, we saved you 80% on that hot air balloon trip you would have never taken. So now you dropped $250 on a hot air balloon trip. You never would have went on it on the first place. And you think, wow, I just saved 75%. No, you just got scammed out of a couple $100. So, I mean, you could imagine how I feel about Black Friday. How does it feel? No, that's Blue Monday. But Black Friday, it feels like crap because you're never quite content. My go-to on Black Friday was always headphones. Oh, that's when I went headphone shopping. If you're going to use Black Friday, make sure it's things that are cemented in on a price. You know those companies that are just rigid bastards where they'll never come down on their price for things? Like those Bose headphones, like the Sony camera that you guys are watching this through right now that I'm shooting this on, I check every year. I bought it a couple Black Fridays ago. I check every year. Maybe it's $10 cheaper. Every year it's the same. So if you want to save money on those things, don't you fall for those lightning deals. I don't know. I mean, that scam, right? The lightning deal scam? Oh my God. Oh, I have 25 minutes to get what? To get what? The Amazon group of 24 AA batteries? Do you really think you're saving that much on it? I don't think so. But hey, happy Thanksgiving. It's not one of my top ones, but it ain't one of my bottom ones. You guys know New Year's, like on my Family Feud board, you know Halloween's number one for me. What are the big holidays? What are the big holidays that even deserve to be ranked? Christmas, look, there's people who celebrate other stuff. Just substitute Christmas with Hanukkah. But you know my theory on Christmas. There's a fat guy named Kringle who goes around dropping gifts. There's two versions of Christmas. You can go the religious route or the fat guy named Kringle saying ho, ho, ho. So Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, New Year's. I mean, where are we drawing the line? Then there's Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July. 4th of July is in the big ones for certain. So you got to think. Or how about this? All right, so the federal holidays, those are probably, all right. The big four, 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. I think we could all set on that. All right, those are the big four. Then we got that second wave coming in. You know, behind that front line, now the reserves are Halloween, and then the bookended summer ones, Labor Day, Memorial Day. Then I think we're going fringe ones, unless there might is one I'm just forgetting. But then after Halloween, Memorial Day, Labor Day, that's when you start getting into those Valentine's days, and you kind of got these invented days. And I'm not a big Columbus disrespecter. All those, you know how that's a hot topic now. My birthday's kind of on that day, so it's always a little weird. I always exempt it because it's like a double holiday for me. So in my rankings of the big ones, I'm going Halloween is my number one, obviously, on my Family Feud board. Number two is Labor Day weekend, because what's after Labor Day weekend? The fall and football and all that stuff. And it's still warm weather, and people are still going to be going out. And you're about to have that full season that just ended, where I told you, that cuffing season, and your last night to snake is Thanksgiving Eve. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. Happy, if you're watching on Thanksgiving Eve, tonight's your last night. You better scrape someone at that local high school bar you went to. I'm going Halloween, Labor Day, Memorial Day, and then the next one's a toss-up between Thanksgiving and the 4th of July. Oh, it's a coin flip to me. Then under that, Christmas and last New Year's, where you're paying 18x. You're in the dead of winter, 18x for Ubers. You're in the dead of winter. You guys learned this all in the 101s and 202s, and maybe even got the refresher in the 303s. But we'll leave that for a couple weeks from now. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming back. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the show. I felt pretty good today. I'll always be back with you. There was a random break in the sports schedule. No hockey games, no football games today. And so if they give me a little break, then you guys get to enjoy another episode of this. Do me a favor and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening. What are you listening on? You listening on Google Podcasts? Well, if you are, subscribe and hit the notifications, because obviously during the football/hockey season, that's when I have the least time available to make these, so they're going to be more sporadic. Then once football ends around Super Bowl time, then you start getting some more. Then when hockey's up, now we're cranking again. But in the meantime, it's going to be whenever I have the time, so make sure you are subscribed wherever you do happen to watch or listen. Thank you so much. Hopefully the next time I make one of these, who knows, maybe the Hard Rock will get back to me and I'll be saying download, but do not download it yet. Do it because I need some leverage. I'm not telling everyone to download it yet, but if you want to cut a deal with me, I'll cut a deal with you, then I'll tell them to download it. Anyway, I will be back for those of you who want to enjoy the hockey stuff. I'll be doing picking corners this weekend. And if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, then don't worry about it. I'll be back with you guys next time. Take it easy. But for real, enjoy Thanksgiving with your families and eating like a slob and watching football. It ain't bad. It's pretty good if you even remotely like the people you're spending time with. If you're some guy who just has to travel somewhere to spend time with some other family, that's actually interesting. I don't know how I would do with that. The random full film. But Andy, that's what everyone deals with. Yeah, but everyone's not me. I'm not good at just going, oh, yeah, no, I do. Yes, Yes, on Fridays is when recyclables go. I'm not good at generic chalk conversations. If you can't tell by now, then you haven't been listening. I'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the holiday.